Welcome back, everybody. Today, I want to give you a tutorial on how to import your own iClone and Character Creator 3 characters into Source 2 Filmmaker. This is kind of a revolutionary thing because Character Creator 3 is this very niche program that allows you to adjust all these morphs and adjustments on your characters that really can be your own characters. And the fact is that we can import it into Source 2, which is such an intuitive program to tell stories. And as you can see here, I have this animated toon character, Ellie, and she's just talking. She's looking around. And the really cool thing about this, guys, is that she has a lot of shape keys. This is a high fidelity character in Source 2, which is just fitting because Source 2 is just freaking amazing. So just to demo it a little bit, not only do we have those expected things like moving her neck and, moving her shoulders, but we also got all kinds of like twist, which can be helping with like the weighting. You can change the weights, but I don't know how to do that. They could be a little bit better, but at least we have the twist. We have entire finger motion. I mean, the rig is pretty good in of itself. And this character here is representing pretty much all the characters that come out of iClone. You can create toon characters. That's a special pack I bought. But we can also create high fidelity, realistic looking characters, right? And the really cool thing about these characters, if you buy the right pack, I think actually Character Creator 3 has like a $40 add-on, is you can actually have like really nice hair, like her eyebrows here. For the guys, it looks really good because you can add beards and hair, and the hair is just like really amazing looking. But as you can see here, guys, like this is just freaking awesome. I'm just going to turn off the lights real quick so I can demo a little bit more about what you can do if this is worth the trouble. And it seems like it's going to be a long video, fully just a lot of complicated things that you need to learn and know how to do. But I'm telling you, I've done this tutorial a couple times. I ran into a couple little issues, so I know what to do and what not to do here. And I'm just going to show you something that is kind of hard to figure out yourself because quite frankly, there is no public tutorial on how to do this yourself. There's a lot of people talking about how to do it through forums and through Discord and stuff, but there's not really a whole walkthrough, right? I'm not going to hold your hand through the whole thing, but it's really simple. As long as you know the programs that I'm going to show, I'm going to walk you through it. So the very first thing you need to do here, actually, I'm probably... I wonder if I deleted I think I deleted my demon girl here. Or no, that was on the other thing. So just to show you that this does work and what the end product is going to be today is this right here. This woman right here talking. And we're kind of far away so we can't see it. And it's kind of laggy because, yeah, here. Yeah, turn off lighting. And so the motion is pretty much coming into it perfectly. Her face is moving around. We're not going to cover textures today. But as you can see, this demon girl, which we're going to be porting from Character Creator 3 / iClone into Source 2 today, has all the same things that I was showing with Ellie earlier. So it works. It's amazing. You can tell your own stories. I'm very excited about this whole thing. I went ahead and went into Character Creator 3 and already created this girl. It was very easy, probably about 4 or 5 minutes. This video is not sponsored, by the way. But I just want to show you guys what's possible here. So, we just added some clothes. We gave her some gloves here. And we gave her some creepy eyes. Now, these eyes are needlessly complicated when porting. I really don't recommend using these demon eyes, but there's all kinds of eyes you can use. You can see that there's makeup. You can add scratches. You can go to Photoshop and make real-time adjustments. And you can even add toon characters, which we saw with Ellie. The really cool thing about this is if you get the extension program iClone, which is going to cost more money, is that you can actually start animating in here. Now, why would you want to animate in here rather than Source 2? Because they actually have something called face key, okay? So what face key does is that, here's a timeline, very much like Source 2, right? You're going to be able to key specific frames. You can actually throw your own dialogue in here, and the algorithm will lip sync right with it. And then you can actually just streamline lip syncing with talking. Now, it does look a little bit like Skyrim, low quality. I would suggest instead going out and, if you have the money, buying an iPhone X or, 10, 11, or 12. Make sure you get the right one. I can't get that information here. Don't take my word for it. I think it's the iPhone 11 or 12. Regardless, I do use it for Live Face. This is another add-on. The cool thing about iClone is that you go from purchase to purchase. You don't need to drop a shoot ton of money, but what I'm describing here does cost a lot of money, especially if you go with the Xsense route. That's a full body motion capture suit. So what you can do in iClone here is you can use the default animations, which are nice and what we're kind of doing today. Or you can actually get a face rig, put your motion capture suit on, and fully animate your character from head to toe. Especially if you have the Madness gloves. Those are also very expensive. What I'm describing here is a lot of money. If you want a full body character with fingers, full body with Xsense and face cap, that's going to run you like probably Xsense is about $4,000. The fingers are about $6,000. We're talking about maybe about $11,000 here. So it's quite an expensive setup, but you don't need all that. If you just want to get your character into Source 2 Filmmaker, it's probably going to run you about, if you don't have any of these add-ons I'm describing, probably about $200-300. But anyway, that's just an extra feature. But regardless, iClone is really cool because you can add default stuff. And as I just demonstrated in Source 2, we have this animation completely working as intended. But we're going to kind of have we're not going to worry about animation importing so much today. I just want to get you guys to get your character into Source 2. So with that being said, let's go to Character Creator 3. And once you create your character with all the clothes or whatever, just go to Export and send. You can send this character to iClone, but we're going to focus on FBX Character Cloth and use these settings here. Blender, Mesh and Motion, Embedded Textures is going to allow us to grab those textures and plug them into Source 2, which is going to be a separate video. Max Texture Size, you want to have high quality 4K textures if you're into that. Current Pose, just don't add any animation here. That should be fine. And then export Mesh and Motion individually. I just leave that checked, doesn't matter. And then just make sure these are the same way. I don't think they matter too much, but I just know it works the way that I have it. So we want to go to Test 4 and export this character, okay? Now, we want to go over to Blender, okay? We're going to want to go to Import the FBX, right? So we have this Demon Girl FBX, right? It's going to be about, I don't know, anywhere from 30 to 80 megabytes, depending on what you have in there. And import that, okay? Don't change anything here. I don't think anything needs to be changed. I just know it works when you don't change any of these settings here. So just take a glance at that, make sure it's all the same, and we'll import, and that'll take probably a minute or two. We're using Blender 3.1, by the way. So when you import her, don't do anything with the scaling. This might be something that needs to be fixed in this tutorial later, but I just know this is what works, okay? So import the character, and go to Export Path. Under the Scene Properties, you're going to need the Blender Source Tools. We're going to want to go under Scene Properties, go under Export Path, and go to our Content folder. So that's going to look like Half-Life Alyx, Content, Half-Life Add-ons, Film, which is going to be my add-on folder, Models, The Lost Wolves, which is my custom folder, Characters, and then Demon. All right? We're going to export her here, okay? Make sure it's a DMX, target up access Z, and then, very important, weight link cool threshold, drag that all the way up to 1, and then DMX version, binary 9, and model 22 is what you want. You see how it says model doc? This is the Source 2 settings. If you don't do this, it's not going to work. So now here we see that we actually exported this character with motion. I actually did this when this is kind of a separate tutorial. So if you're just trying to get your character into Source 2, don't worry about this part. If you want motion, like a kind of sample motion, you can do this part. But once you import it into iClone, You know, you want to click your character, export FBX. Okay, so, you know, click 60 FPS, range, embedded textures, pretty much the same thing. But, you know, it doesn't really matter at this point whether she has an animation or is just idle in a pose. It actually doesn't carry over quite yet. All we're trying to do is get the model to work in Source 2. So now that we have two things down here, okay? We should have two things down here. In this source engine exportables, we have collection.dmx and probably going to be the animation, right? Obviously, we're going to want to export the collection.dmx. So you'll want to go here, collection.dmx. You can export both of them if you want, for the animation. So, yeah, we're just going to export the collection.dmx. So now we're done with Character Creator, and we're done with iClone and Blender, okay? Don't need to worry about those programs anymore. So now that we have, let's go to our daemon sample. Or actually, we'll create a sample. I've done this tutorial a few times and have ran into some issues. So we're going to go to model doc, create a new one. And we're just going to go ahead and Control S and save this as daemon sample 2, I guess, right? And then we're going to go to add meshes, and we're going to import our collection.dmx. That's going to import the 3D model as well as, you know, all the rig and everything. So we're going to need to compile this so we know what the hell's going on. We see her right down here. We're going to go to default material group. Globally, well, here, this is what I like to do. This is what I did with the other demon girl here that we have in this previous tutorial that I failed miserably at, but got it working now. Is that we actually added a little bit of skin just so we could see the face moving around. Just pretty good for this tutorial. But going back to daemon sample 2, we're going to need to do quite a few changes to this model, okay? Under the outliner, we're going to go to show empty categories, and then we're going to go to bone markup list, and then we're going to turn the bone cool type to none. That's important. We're also going to go to add scale, command call scale animations. Since our character is very small, we're going to need to scale the animation so we don't have like a creepy skeleton running around with like, it's all corrupted. So the animation scaling and the model scaling needs to be the same when you import it, right? So for some reason, again, this is something I just need to figure out with the tutorial. It's kind of wacky. We're just going to go to animation here and put asterisk. That's going to do all the animations, and we're going to keep the scale at 1 for just a second. Now we're going to go to empty animation, and we're just going to name this idle. Doesn't really matter, just needs an empty animation so that Source knows what the default animation is. We're also going to go to, default material groups. We're just going to click on whatever material. We're going to type gray and just start applying gray to all of these. And I'm going to give another tutorial on how to do this. You don't even really necessarily need to do this part because it is technically just for the tutorial. I just want you all to see the face work, okay? Skin. Let's do let's do Ellie, I guess. Or no, let's do olive face. So, yeah, again, I'm going to talk about how to do this later, but this is just for the tutorial. Alternately, you can go up to the very top, which I'll show in just a moment. Globally replace all materials and model. You can just put gray there, but I want you guys to just kind of see what we're doing here. Oh, we forgot something. Yeah, tunic. Okay. So, yeah, she looks a little bit creepy right now. She is Demon Girl. So, uh-oh, and her teeth. Her teeth are also not adjusted. There we go. And so this is probably the longest part of the tutorial, adding the materials, which we're going to do in a different video. And it's pretty self-explanatory. There are some cool things that You can do it to really make it shine. But for now, we're just trying to get it to get in here. So yeah, now we have our model. We can take any specific armor pieces off, or clothes, or gloves. There is a whole other thing that Harry, actually 101 UK, talked about how to make body groups in Source 2. I haven't even started trying to do that, but this is just part 1 of this specific kind of tutorial. Yeah, bone cool type 0. We want to stop that. And I think we're pretty much good. If you do want the extra part of this tutorial, which is how to add an animation, you want to go to animation file here. And then we're going to have our demon girl, which we exported on Blender, a DMX. You can also export this as a DFBX. I thought it didn't work for a long time, but apparently it does. We're just going to name this walk, I guess. Right? And we're going to see if that works. I don't even know if it will work. I'm pretty sure that's what I was just showing you guys. That should be able to... I might have an opportunity to show y'all. Okay. So it looks like we don't maybe not need to add the command scale animations. So we have her walking around, talking. She's she should be moving her mouth, doing some good face motion capture. But I don't quite see it from here. So why don't we go ahead and make sure that we did this correctly. Demon sample 2. Oh, demon sample 2. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make her larger here in a moment. But if you want the animation to roll out in Source Filmmaker, you want to go to Import Animation. If you want to just put it in RAW, or Sequence if you did it through the model dock. So we should see her. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. She's blinking when we make her blink. And then, like, pretty much after that point, it's pretty much just like normal Source editing, right? But we're not quite done, because this looks like crap, obviously. So we're just going to bring her over here on the ground, with her being so freaking small. It might be best to just scale her up in Blender, but again, this is kind of just, let's just get it working. It's kind of it's not the best tutorial, but whatever. I'm going to show you guys how to get it working right. We'll want to go to Show an Element Viewer under the Animation Set Editor. Click on her, right-click on her, and go to the Animation Set. Expand Game Model, expand Bones, and then go to the Bone Root, I believe. Add attribute, go to Float, and then type in Scale. Okay? She's going to disappear. That's because the scale went to 0. But because she's so small, we need to scale her up. All right? I put in 100. That's probably way too large. The scaling seems to be different. Again, this is something I'm still trying to figure out desperately with the scaling, how the scaling can be improved here. But yeah, there we go. So now we have our character. She looks very creepy, I know, but I promise you, if you add the textures and you do the other extra little things here, she's gonna look freaking amazing. Yeah, so guys, that's pretty much all you need to know about how to import your own freaking iClone character into Source 2. So, if you are having some issues with, like, if the scaling is weird, I do have some notes here. Essentially, you can go over here, go to Utilities, and reattach to Model. Sometimes that'll just kind of refresh the skeleton if you're having some issues. And again, if you're having issues with, like, the animation being different than different scale than the model itself, you're going to have, like, this really creepy skeleton running around with the bones all, like, either all collected in one spot like a big moving blob, or if it's all stretched out like a long skeleton, that means that there's a scaling issue somewhere in your pipeline process here. And it probably almost always happens in Blender. You might be tempted to go to collection.dmx and improve this scale. You can, I guess, let's say 50, because 50 kind of looked correct. Maybe we can come up with a solution here on the video. I guess you could do this, but if you do that, then the animation is going to be like a blob, right? So I think we could fix that by going to scale 50, because we just made everything 50 times bigger. Let's see, that should, in theory, work. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So yeah, just found out a solution on stream or on video. That's pretty cool. You know, it's not the best way to get it working, but I do like. Big thanks to Harry 101 UK and others for giving me all the help I needed to make this work. I was using Blender 3.1, by the way. I think I mentioned that earlier, but just so you know, just trying to get any extra information. So essentially, the pipeline is create your character, export it as a .fbx, or send it to iClone so you can get this really rigorous, like high quality preset. You know, you can go ahead and start adding keyframes of her smiling a little bit more, you know? And then if you want to make her a little bit angry or surprised or kind of disappointed, you can add that keyframe and then that'll reflect. You see? How cool is that? And then we'll make her move her mouth over here, add a little bit of personality to her, add a little bit of emotion, expressiveness. Once you're done with that, you can also even you can actually even add motion in here. What is it? You can do motion puppet, or you can add a motion layer. So this is going to, you can do some extra animating on this. I would prefer to animate in Source 2, but you can see that there is an option here. You can move the bone like that, or you can press E and rotate it like this. And then if you go down here to this timeline, you'll see a bunch of other extra things here, like I don't fully understand it. That's why I just rather animate inside Source 2. But it is an option. So once you export this, go to export FBX, and then you'll import it into Blender 3.1. Make sure that the weight link cool is all the way binary 9 model 22 for model doc DMX. And if you imported it with the animation, you'll have that in here too. You can also do some retargeting with Auto Rig Pro, which I've made a couple tutorials about, which should be pretty easy. If you press C and go to wireframe, you'll see that you can just click the bones and do the retargeting that way with Auto Rig Pro, but that costs extra money. But anyway, yeah, she's doing the animation perfectly. You can export that as a DMX. I was told by MJ that you do not need to, that DMX does not carry shape key information. I thought that he was correct, but apparently not, because it's working correctly. There might be a need to export this as a .fbx, and then import that as an animation. But so far, I think this is the most space efficient way, and it looks like there's not really any downsides to it, because she's working exactly the way that we want her to. And I mean, this just looks great. This just looks absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. And of course, you know, this is not ideal. But you know, here, why don't we go ahead and fix Ellie real quick? I think she needs a 100 scale improvement. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and drag this up. Just, you got to make sure it's the same. Otherwise, there's going to be some issues. That's why I get very nervous about scaling. Let's see, we made her. Oh, yeah, and see, you'll get something really wacky like this. I don't think I did the... we want to import her in scale. So I actually think it would be 100x for the size, but only 1 on the scale animation. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, see, this is an error. So I'm not doing something right. That might be a 10x. You can just sit here and do the math. I'm tempted to end this tutorial now, obviously, because we already kind of like got the thing done. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and return her. Let's just focus on getting things working, right? That's the important thing. That's the important thing, is to just make sure that, yeah. So Ellie isn't quite as straightforward, But if we zoom down to her tiny, tiny little body, we're going to see that this animation works flawlessly. And I wish I could zoom in a little bit more, but, you know, she's talking, she's blinking, she's looking around, you know, doing everything that she needs to do. And this only took, I mean, honestly, this tutorial, it kind of technically ended 5 minutes ago, but once you know how to do this, like, it's actually really simple. Once again, you just create your character, export as a FBX, use Blender as a middleman to make sure all these options are set, and import it, and then you have the working model. And this is just so exciting to me personally because I feel like now I can tell whatever story I want. You know, for too long have I been telling stories with just Spartans and things like that. Oh, geez, I think we absolutely destroyed one of our models here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and go back into Demon. So that's one other important note. If you scale a bunch of stuff in Model Dock, your model will not be the same after importing it. Now, Ellie is the same because we reverted her back to the same things. But remember, she's scaled up. She's scaled up 100 times larger than she actually is. I would really like to figure that out in my next tutorial, but I'm just so fascinated by this. I just have to tell the world. And there's quite a lot of thought and settings gone into the materials here, which I have not done, but MJ thankfully did for me for my Lost Wolf series. But yeah, let's take a look at Demon Sample 2, which we worked on today. Sequence, import the sequence. And honestly, there we go. Just go ahead and add a camera. Just go to the camera real quick. Camera, let's do camera 6. And just kind of press play. Just scrub. Oh. Let's hold Alt and move the animations over. I really do like when she starts throwing her hands around. It looks very cartoony. Anyway, we'll just kind of wiggle the camera a little bit. Maybe pan out. Oh, okay. Anyway, maybe we'll move the camera over here. Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Move the playhead down, smooth. Yeah, so there we go. You know, if we want to add some adjustments to her, we can go to, say right here, we just want her to be keeping her eyes closed. Make her eyes closed like that. And then, yeah. So the next part of my tutorial, guys, is actually a pretty critical thing. Again, I was not focusing on efficiency or making things proper, but we will need to go into scripting here and go to text. We need a text script, actually. So let's go ahead and go to downloads. I have a download link for this. Source 2 bone rename, source character creator 2 to source 2 filmmaker pi. We'll want to open that. And what this is going to do, it's going to rename all of these bones, all of these CC bones. So you'll actually look over here and you'll see that actually, where is it? My goodness. Where is source 2? Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Okay. When we open up Demon Girl 2, Demon Sample 2, we'll see that there is body and then just a massive amount of unknowns. This is unhelpful for many reasons because it's very hard to find a specific bone that you want to edit. For example, like, hey, you know, I don't want the twist here. I want this twist here. Actually, what helps me is to just kind of move these slightly out so you can kind of click it easier. So if you want to move the actual arm, you can do that. But yeah, so once you see that this is a disaster, you really want this to change, and you can rename all the bones. Source 2 has a set of has a very specific set on how to categorize things, and that means that things have to be named in a very specific way. So I could just give you an example real quick so you guys can just see how Source Engine does it is if you open up Alex, you'll see that there's unknown, but also legs, fingers, arms, body, and face. This is super, super, super convenient. And it's really nice, okay? And not only that, oh man, she's got cloth physics. I got to talk about that later. I don't know how to do that yet, but we see that there's just categorization, which is going to be really nice. How you do this is you go to Blender, and on your Blender import, don't scale anything. You'll import this script just as I showed here, and then go to Run Script, wherever that is. I swear I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. I think this is Run Script. Yeah, Run Script. So when we press that play button, I think everything over here, if we click on the rig, and then we go to Pose Mode, Wireframe, and then click on this bone here. Yeah, perfect. So we see that's bip lower arm left. We see that spine 1, spine 2. And you know what? Honestly, if you want to make this adjustment right now, all you really got to do is go right back over here. Go back right over here to Scene Properties. And export it again, man. Oh, here. And we'll just, here. Let's export this as... We'll export this as Demon Sample 2. Okay. And this is going to have the fixed bones on it, so it's going to be super easy to update this. We're going to go to Demon Sample Girl 2. We're going to go ahead and go to Disable just in case. Add Meshes. Go to Characters, Demon Sample 2. Uh-oh. I guess we're still actually exporting this. So probably need to give it a minute on this. Oh, we had some error messages there. Hopefully that doesn't have any issues. Open. So now we have this new collection. It would be probably useful to rename these so you can keep track instead of just DMX. And I'm actually glad that, yeah, so we're going to see a really gross skeleton when we walk in here, like, what the hell's going on? That's because our previous collection had the import scale of 50. Into Macchar animation scale, we're going to want to recompile. And I believe, in theory, this should work just fine. Yep. Uh-oh. Well, see, that's why you might want to just take care of that first. It did say excessive weight limit, so, you know, it's a work in progress, I guess, trying to get this functioning the way that we would like for it to work. But she's doing some funky stuff now. Some really funky stuff. So I'll have to look into that. But anyways, at least we know that she works. And with the other model. Let's see. She should be. Let's see if the bones have at least been set up correctly. Now, so yeah, now. C-base upper arm? Huh. I guess that script did not work. Huh. Interesting. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to keep an eye out for more. Subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one soon. Let me know if you have any questions or problems in the comments. Peace.